Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to rule the largest empire the world had ever seen? Today, we dive into the extraordinary, controversial, and fascinating life of Xerxes I, the king of kings of the Achaemenid Empire, a ruler surrounded by myths, mysteries, and legends. A monarch remembered for his unimaginable wealth, his colossal ambitions, and for leading one of the most famous military expeditions in ancient history. Yet behind the golden crown lies a story far more complex than popular culture suggests. Xerxes was not simply a king. He was the symbol of imperial power, a man who inherited a multicultural empire stretching from the Indus Valley to northern Africa, from the edges of Greece to the heart of Central Asia. And his story reveals not only political ambition, but also family conflicts, extraordinary engineering, dramatic failures, legendary victories, spiritual struggles, and surprising acts of compassion. To understand Xerxes, we must first turn back to the years before his birth. His father, Darius the Great, was one of the most powerful rulers in antiquity. Darius built a unified administration, a road system that connected the empire like ancient internet cables, and established Persepolis as the ceremonial capital, a breathtaking city carved into stone, decorated with gold, precious stones, and monumental reliefs from across the empire's many cultures. Xerxes grew up in this world of vast power, surrounded by symbols of authority and the expectation that he would one day rule. But being heir was not simple. Xerxes was not the eldest son. In fact, several older half-brothers had stronger claims. But Xerxes had something unique. He was the son of Atossa, the daughter of Cyrus the Great. To be descended from Cyrus, the founder of the empire, was like carrying divine legitimacy. This bloodline would be critical for Xerxes' rise. When Darius died, a political debate shook the entire Persian court. Who would be the next king of kings? The answer was decided through lineage, alliances, and the immense influence of Atossa. Xerxes emerged victorious, ascending the throne around 486 BCE, becoming the most powerful human in the known world. As king, he inherited not only wealth and stability, but also unresolved tensions. Most importantly, his father had left a colossal mission unfinished: the invasion of Greece. Darius had attempted to expand Persian influence into the Greek world, but faced a devastating defeat at Marathon. For Xerxes, this was more than a military objective. It was personal, a chance to honor his father's legacy, demonstrate Persian dominance, and secure eternal glory. Before preparing for war, however, Xerxes faced internal rebellions. Egypt rose against Persian rule shortly after his coronation. Dealing with these rebellions would reveal much about his leadership style. Contrary to his overly harsh portrayal in modern media, Xerxes often preferred to stabilize regions through administration, negotiation, and local respect. Yet in Egypt, he also demonstrated strict control, replacing local leaders and reaffirming Persian authority. Once the internal empire was stabilized, Xerxes turned toward the Greek world. But here begins one of the most intriguing chapters of ancient history. The Persian invasion of Greece was not simply a military campaign. It was a technological marvel, a logistical masterpiece, and one of the most ambitious mobilizations ever undertaken. Some ancient sources claim Xerxes gathered between 100,000 and 300,000 soldiers. Modern historians believe the number was smaller, but still gigantic for the time. The Persian army was a multicultural force: Persians, Medes, Babylonians, Egyptians, Phoenicians, Lydians, Indians, Scythians, and many others. Each group brought its own weapons, clothing, traditions, and fighting style. It was like an ancient United Nations marching west. But how do you transport an army of this size across seas and mountains? Xerxes used engineering. Innovative, daring, almost unbelievable engineering. To cross the Hellespont, the narrow strait separating Asia from Europe, Xerxes ordered the construction of a pontoon bridge, one of the largest floating bridges ever built in antiquity. It connected the continents, allowing thousands of soldiers, horses, and supply caravans to walk from Asia into Europe. This alone was enough to make Xerxes' name eternal. Then came the famous canal through Mount Athos, carved so Persian ships could bypass dangerous waters. This was the first known naval canal in Greek history. It took years, thousands of laborers, and advanced planning. Xerxes was not simply a warrior king. He was a visionary ruler capable of coordinating mega-projects on an imperial scale. As the campaign advanced, the Greeks, usually fragmented and constantly at war with each other, united out of necessity. A coalition formed, led by Athens and Sparta. And it is here that Xerxes' story intersects with legends such as Leonidas and the 300 Spartans. But what many people do not know is that the famous stand at Thermopylae was not a simple battle of Persians versus 300 Spartans. In reality, there were thousands of Greek soldiers from multiple cities defending the narrow pass. And Xerxes' army fought not only Spartans, but also Thespians, Thebans, and other Greek warriors. The Persian victory at Thermopylae was real. Xerxes broke through the pass, marched into central Greece, and eventually reached Athens. The city was evacuated, and Xerxes ordered parts of Athens burned, an act remembered for centuries. But contrary to movies, Xerxes did not intend to destroy Greece entirely. His goal was to pressure Greek resistance, demonstrate dominance, and install rulers loyal to Persia. But then came Salamis, one of the most decisive naval battles in world history. The Persian fleet, though large and powerful, struggled in the narrow Greek straits, where smaller, faster Greek ships maneuvered more effectively. Xerxes watched the battle from a golden throne on a nearby hill. When the Persian fleet suffered heavy losses, he faced a strategic dilemma. Remaining in Greece without complete naval control was dangerous. So Xerxes retreated, leaving a general, Mardonius, to continue the fight. Mardonius was later defeated at Plataea, and the Persian invasion came to an end. But this was not the collapse of the Persian Empire as some believe. In fact, Persia remained dominant for more than a century after Xerxes. The empire did not fall. It adapted, grew, and continued to influence global history. Xerxes returned to Persia, where he focused on internal affairs, architectural projects, and spiritual matters. One of his most enduring legacies is Persepolis, expanded under his reign. The platform, palaces, gates, and halls built under Xerxes and his father remain among the most impressive ancient ruins in the world. Yet Xerxes' personal life was far from peaceful. Court intrigues, assassination plots, and palace rivalries haunted his later years. Ancient historians suggest his death came through betrayal, possibly by courtiers seeking power. But even his death is shrouded in mystery. The real Xerxes was not the monstrous figure often depicted in modern films, nor was he a flawless hero. He was a complex ruler of a culturally diverse empire, a man shaped by both ambition and duty, a king remembered not only for war but also for architecture, diplomacy, and empire building. Today, historians still debate his true personality. Was he merciful? Was he cruel? Was he visionary? Or simply a product of the immense pressures of ruling a world-spanning empire? What we do know is this: Xerxes shaped history. His decisions changed the fate of nations. His engineering projects challenged what humans believed possible. And his story continues to fascinate us because it sits at the intersection of legend and reality. And perhaps the most surprising fact is this: much of what we think we know about Xerxes comes from Greek sources written by his enemies, meaning the true Xerxes might be even more complex, more strategic, and more human than the stories that survived. In the end, Xerxes was not merely a king. He was a symbol of ambition, excess, innovation, and imperial power. A ruler whose legacy echoes through the ruins of Persepolis, through the histories of Greece and Persia, and through every modern retelling of ancient greatness. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of Xerxes, a king surrounded by myth and mystery, let me know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more incredible historical stories just like this one.